Ninth and tenth. Okay. Okay. Well, my name is Tony Daniels, and like she said, I went to Princeton, graduated in '05. Um, right now, currently, I'm a firefighter, paramedic, uh, start a new job, but I'll kind of get into that. But growing up, it was pretty rough for me. I had some hard struggles. Life was not fair, and uh, I made a lot of excuses for life not being fair. Um, Elementary to middle school, I was a bad kid, but um, I had a good heart, but I was acting out because I was holding a secret that basically I didn't want anybody to know. I was embarrassed, and flat out, I didn't want anybody to know that I couldn't read. I couldn't read at all. Not just like when you're talking about reading books. Couldn't read, and it was a struggle growing up, and I was acting out because of that. But I found out that that was not working for me. Being the bad kid was not working for me because I had a lot of teachers turning their back on me because of that fact. They didn't know that, so they thought I was just that kid, and I got tired of that. And at that point, I had to start learning, like, okay, this is not working for me. What can I do? But it was pretty rough knowing that and not being able to express that to my teachers. But I had a lot of coping mechanisms so it wouldn't get out. Like I was good at cheating. I was the best at cheating, and I'm sure some of you guys probably know that. As far as you guys cheat, we teachers know that. I had eventually started having a great relationship with my teachers. Like I said, I turned it around so the teachers knew who I was every morning. I spoke and things like that. So I became a good student, made teachers kind of want to take more interest in me. I was a great athlete, and some of you guys know being a great athlete, you kind of get some perks. Um, and so it kind of made me fly under the radar. But once I got to middle school and high school, um, things had to change. I knew that I wanted to go to college. I wanted to be a Division I football player. I was getting recruited, but I knew I had to pass. You guys know it as the OGT, but when I was in school, it was the proficiency test, and I had to pass all 5 elements of it. And this was going into my junior and senior year. So once I knew that I could not pass it on my own, I sought out to a teacher. I went to a teacher and basically had to reveal something that really, I mean, it broke my heart to have to reveal that I couldn't read and I couldn't write and I couldn't do math. I mean, it was just a whole element of things that I couldn't do that I was trying to do on my own, that I realized that I needed somebody to help me get through my struggles. So I sought out to one of my teachers and basically just poured my heart into it. And I mean, it broke me. I cried, and I felt like, okay, I'm gonna get through it. And she, told me, hey, we will get through this. We will pass all 5. And I mean, it came down to basically the last time that I can take the test that I passed 3 of the 5 that I was able to graduate high school, which you guys know you can't graduate high school without it. So basically, me wanting to go to college and go on and have a successful life, you guys know you need your GED, I mean your high school diploma, to do anything in life nowadays. In the future, to work at McDonald's, you're going to have your high school diploma. So you can sit here and say, oh, I don't need it, but I'll just work so and so. But eventually, you will have to have it. And this teacher put a lot of hard time. I mean, we were after school 2 to 3 hours a day for me to try to retain this information that I should have retained when I was, earlier. And that's kind of what we're trying to do here, what the teachers are trying to do here. You guys are in a perfect opportunity right now, 9th and 10th grade. Things that I'm telling you, I was not able to learn until I was 11th, 12th grade and out of school. If I had someone who basically came in and talked to me like I'm talking to you guys and let me know how important school is and how important reading is, I would have been farther along than I am today. I'm 26 years old and I'm still struggling with things that if I would have got earlier, I would have been fine. You know what I mean? And so this support system, I want to talk about support system. It's important to have a support system. This right here, this class, the class that you guys taking is considered a support system. This is something that these teachers don't have to do. There's not one teacher that wakes up in the morning and say, okay, how can I make this child's day a living hell? No teacher whatsoever. Okay, I know you guys might think, oh, this teacher hates me because they got all these rules that's in place, and why do I have all these rules? There's a reason for it. Teachers have rules. When they come in, they can't wear what they want to wear. They can't act how they want to act. There's a reason for rules. So no teacher wakes up in the morning and tries to make your day bad, okay? So once you realize that, you'll come to the realization that these teachers are here to help you and not hurt you. Now, it takes 26 years. Now I look back, I talked to teachers that I thought was my worst enemy, and I realized they were doing that for a reason. You have two different types of teachers. You have some who will pat you on the back and, you know, rah, rah, rah teachers. Then you have some who are stern teachers, and that's just their way of showing their support, because they know a lot of kids at home don't have the same discipline that you might get at school, and you need that discipline. When you're going to fill out applications and things like that, you have to have that same discipline that you had when the teachers was giving it to you. And being embarrassed. I know a lot of kids that I talk to say, you know, I'm embarrassed to say something. Let me tell you what's embarrassing. Embarrassing is going to try to fill out an application and can't read the application. That's embarrassing. Being an adult and can't read, that's embarrassing. Right now you have an opportunity to really buckle down and really get what you need right here, right now, being in the 9th and 10th grade. That's not embarrassing. That's being smart. Like I said, embarrassing is being an adult and can't read. And being in orientation. Let me tell you, I was in orientation one day. I got a job, and it came to my turn where we had to go around and we were reading the employee handbook. And it got to me, and I couldn't read it. Let me tell you how embarrassing that is, being in front of 50 adults and can't read an employee handbook and having to make an excuse why I couldn't read it. Oh, I didn't bring my glasses. I forgot my contacts. That's embarrassing. So you guys need to really understand that the opportunity that you have. You're going to keep hearing me talk about opportunity, because that's all it is. It's an opportunity. You have a choice to really get it and really right now buckle down and do what you guys need to do. If I could go back to where you guys were from what I know now, I would have started from scratch as far as what I need to. When I first started out, I had to go back to phonics. I had to go back to learning the I, the A's, the whole, you know, the whole alphabet and how it sounds. I had to go all the way back to square one. And I don't know if some of you guys are having to go back that far, but the whole thing that I'm trying to get out of it is, whatever you have to do it now. It's so important. It's so important to really get what you need right now. And because I waited so long, I'm still playing catch up. There's things that I still struggle with that I'm playing catch up for now. I went to, like I said, I'm a firefighter and a paramedic. Paramedic was probably one of the hardest programs I've ever had to went through. It was a very high demanding program, but I was the top of my class for my paramedic program, which was very hard. But so it just goes to show you that if you put the time and effort into it, you can accomplish. I know you hear that a lot. You might hear that a lot and really don't believe that. You can do whatever you want to do, but it's true. But you have to be able, you can do any job in the world you could do if you can read, write, and count. Think about it. Any job you want to be able to do, if you can read, write, and do math, you can do. So it's important. It's really important to really buckle down right now. How many of you guys actually write down life goals? Let me see a hand. How many actually write down, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is what I need to do it? Not many? One, two. That's where it starts, guys. That's important. That's where it starts. It got to the point where I realized that once I wrote down something, it became realistic. It became something that I can do. When it's in your head, it's just thoughts. Once you write it down, now it becomes something that you can actually accomplish. And I wish I brought my goal sheet in. And I started this in '06. And I'm looking back at it because I start a new job on Monday, and I'm going to be making double what I was making before. And I'm going back and I'm looking at my goal sheet, and I'm like, wow, I did that. And I'm just crossing out all my stuff that I accomplished that I've been writing down since '06. I've been writing this stuff down since '06, things that I wanted to do, become a firefighter, go on and go to paramedic school, get married, have kids, just all the silly stuff that you guys might not think about right now. I'm writing this stuff down, and I'm just checking the other day, and I'm like, man, I'm going through all this, and I'm just checking. I'm like, wow. So now it's to the point I have to make new goals now because I was able to accomplish all my goals that I had sought out to do. So with that said, don't let your ego get in front of your success. Okay, everybody, the egos are here. You ninth, 10th grade. I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want somebody to know I can't read. Don't let that get in the way of your success. Any questions? No questions? I got to get one before I got to get one question. You. Yeah, because I know you. Well, thank you for your time. I really hope you get something out of it. I'm not just here. Hopefully I can come back and talk again. I don't hope you guys just see me one time and kind of forget about me. I really hope that I can come back and talk to you guys again, just to kind of see if you guys are starting to implement some of the stuff that this class is teaching you guys.
Aside from your professional life, what are some other ways that you have found that reading and writing are really important to your success as an adult and being able to be independent and responsible?
I mean, it goes back to filling out a job application. I mean, there's things that you don't think about that, like, now I'm getting into like investments and things like that you guys will learn about once you get a little older. But that's basically setting yourself up for retirement and things, that I'm having to read all this literature and not just read it, but read it and understand it. So there's a lot that goes into reading that you might not think about right now, but that's really important, that basically people can take advantage of you if you can't read it and understand it. It's one thing to just read it, but to read it and comprehend it and understand it is very important. Yes. Because of the coping mechanisms I had, my mom did not even know that I was struggling with reading until my 11th grade year. So most of my family didn't even know that, because I made good grades. I still made good grades because of the way I was able to cheat and the things that I was doing that most of my family didn't even know. Oh, okay. Right now, I'm actually a big reader now, which is kind of funny because, like, I hated books before. So now I'm a big reader, and I like to read a lot of books that are action packed. I mean, it just that's what gets me going. I read a lot of sports books. Right now, I've got a book out right now that I go through every blue moon, just to kind of bring myself back to reality. When I get here, I kind of start reading. It basically brings me back down to reality. Go ahead. Yeah. Actually, I started 2 years ago. So I'm 26 now. So right around 24, 25, kind of came to the point where I was like, I wanted to help. I wanted to help kids, and a lot of times, helping kids, you kind of got to expose yourself. And I just basically came out, and when the teacher that helped me was the one who actually helped me write the book, and we kind of came to a realization that if it's going to be successful, it's going to have to be a telltale book, and everything is going to have to be exposed. And I was okay with that because I was comfortable with where I was, the things that I accomplished, and how I got to the point where I was. So I would say probably 2 years ago, I was able to be comfortable with where I was and the reading and things that I do now. Because like I said, it's still a struggle for me now. I still struggle with things, and I have to get help, and I have to sort out help. And I have to use different devices. iPad is my best friend because I use it tremendously. It's still things that I struggle with today, but I'm learning how to deal with them things. Her name was Miss Garmer. She was my chemistry teacher. I met her my 11th grade. Yeah, and she was a pretty hard-starring teacher, and we butted heads a lot, and I think that was one of the things that really got her interested in me because I was going back to them ways of being being the bad kid, and she was like, "No, this is not you. What's really going on?" And she broke me down, and that was the lady that I basically confessed to that I couldn't read. Yeah, I played football. I was a Division I athlete. I played football, and I wrestled a little bit, but I mostly played football. And as you know, do you play sports? As you know, you've got to pass the OGT. I mean, that's number one. You got to take ACT, SAT, and it's a lot of reading in them. As you know, have you took them? Have you took them yet? Okay. Well, you'll be taking them. There's a lot of reading. So if you're struggling, start now. Start now. Because I did terrible on it. Like I said, it was my senior year, and I almost didn't graduate because I still had to pass 3 elements of the proficiency, and this was my senior year, and this was my last time to take it, or I would have had to go get my GED.
You talked about that you were recruited in high school by some of the colleges, and that was part of what made you know that you needed to get the test scores and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
What was that process like, and how did things turn out?
It was. I had went down to Arizona to play football. Unfortunately, I had a heart condition. It was called Wolff-Parkinson White, so I wasn't able to compete in college. But the experience of long, if it wasn't for football, I don't know if I would have actually got the help that I needed. So I think football had its place of me getting ready and having to really buckle down and do the things necessary to get to college. And because I always wanted to be a fireman, but I know I couldn't do both. I couldn't play sports and be a fireman. So I think that kind of happened for a reason. But I think sports was there at that place at that right time, and it was the opportunity. Like you said, you'll hear me talk about opportunity a lot. That opportunity right then and there that got me to where I needed to be. That was my only goal. That was my only goal was to play professional sports, and I know a lot of youth goal is to only play professional sports, but realistically, if everybody in this room wanted to play professional sports, probably be one, if one in this whole room that would actually make it in professional sports. So don't let that be your only goal. Like with me, that was my only goal. That's all I wanted to do was be a professional football player. And it's sad that a lot of professional football players can't read, and that's why when it comes to filling out a contract, when somebody's playing with your money, somebody's controlling your money through this contract, and you can't even read the contract to realize how much money somebody's taking from you. and they don't realize it to they're done playing sports, and was, it's like, oh man, where's all my money? And somebody sit back laughing at you because you couldn't read your contract to realize that somebody was taking your money.
It's all related.
Okay.
I know you have siblings, right?
Yes.
Okay. So my three-part question is, how has this affected like your relationship with like your parents, and is there any like guilt or blame? And then B would be how like with your siblings, like do they struggle with school as well? And C, how has your experience kind of dictated how you gonna your kids like feel about like your kids' education or what you're gonna do with them?
I actually have one of my sisters in this class. Raise your hand. So, there was no guilt because, like I said, my mom didn't know, and I think it was, if anything, it was she was more guilty, like wishing she could have done something. But that was just me. I was that quiet, kind of shell-shocked kid. So with me, it was more or less I was happy once I got it out. I mean, it was just like a weight was just lifted off my shoulders. And now, it's to the point where with my kids, we read every night, and I got a older son, he's 8, and he's like, Dad, why do we read all the time? And it's like once he gets a little older too, where I can explain to him, why we do the things that we do and why homework is so important, he'll understand. I mean, he's kind of getting to the point where he's liking to read, so he's read my book and he's like, Dad, what is? Because I have dyslexia. Basically, it's a learning disability. He's like, what is that? And I'm starting to explain stuff to him, and he's like, oh, so you couldn't read? I'm like, no. And he thinks it's funny. He's like, well, try to read this. So he thinks it's funny, but once he gets to a certain age, I'll be able to kind of explain things to him and why I'm so hard on him. So, any other questions? Nobody? Okay. All right, well, thanks a lot for having me. Like I said, hopefully we can kind of revisit things, and because I would like to see how much this program actually helped you guys. I really wish that there was a program like this when I was in school, because I think I would have really benefited from it. And good luck to you guys, and get it now. I mean, if you don't get anything out of what I said, if you blanked out through the whole conversation, get it now. Don't let your ego get in the way of your success. Thanks for having me.